Hello there, I'm Funky Monkey. Welcome to History of Turrican. While Factor 5 were developing Turrican 3 for the Amiga and Mega Drive, they were also developing a Turrican game for the SNES. But before we get to the series on SNES, let's take a detour towards Nintendo's most famous 8-bit console. This game was released in Europe in 1993. Right at the end of the NES's life. Which is a great shame, as this is a worthy port, being a remixed compendium of levels from the home computer Turricans, and completely created by Manfred Trenz himself. The levels are slightly tweaked from their original appearances, but no less sprawling in size. The graphics are okay, if not great, but the music does slightly let the side down, as some of the notes and arrangements do seem a little harsh on my ears. Then again, Trenz did have to borrow someone else's routine for it. Slightly dodgy orchestrations aside, this 8-bit Super Turrican retains the all-important soul of Turrican, with some genuinely challenging moments, and it's definitely worth finding if you're any kind of Turrican fan. Now, as I mentioned earlier, Super Turrican was started at the same time as Mega Turrican and Turrican 3. However, development engineering for the SNES took longer than for the Mega Drive, and much longer than for the Amiga, mind you. And so the game was programmed over several late nights in the third quarter of 1992. Also, the backstory once again places Bren Maguire at the head of the USS Freedom Forces, who are being dispatched to liberate the planet Katakis. Katakis. Where have I heard that name before? The team at Factor 5 deliberately attempted to capture the soul of Turrican in this incarnation, and for the most part, they have succeeded. The levels are as large as any in the classic trilogy, the graphics are crisp and colourful, and the score is a mix of tunes from Turrican 3, alongside a few composed for this version. Alas, it's not all good news though. The freeze beam, which replaces the long beam, doesn't feel as useful as it could. But I'm nitpicking again. This is every bit the sequel that the legendary Turrican 2 deserves, and is a must for anyone who loves the run-and-gun genre. Super Turrican 2 features smaller, more linear levels than its predecessor, and the return of the grappling hook from Turrican 3. The graphics are also radically different, the main sprite losing its quintessentially Turrican-esque stylings for what I consider to be a generic faceplate. However, the score is Hulsbeck's most ambitious to date, as he attempts an orchestral feeling, although he does bring the pop rock with Wormland from late in the game. In my own opinion, this experiment wasn't a complete success, as any variation from the classic trilogy was always going to rankle, but it's still a great game in its own right, and as a capper to the series to date, it could be a whole lot worse. And how much worse? Well, join me next time as we investigate the darkest chapter of the history of Turrican, Universal Soldier. See you there!